Hey, Jamie. Hey, Jamie. I hope you can hear me. I know there's going to be a short delay, but hopefully everything's working good today. Let me know if you cannot hear. Well, if you can't hear me, then you don't know I'm talking, right? Yay! Hey, Elaine. Happy New Year, everybody. We're a little bit early. I just want to make sure that the sound is working and that everybody can hear. And we're going to do some cups today. Get started. I need to check my camera real quick because I just grabbed some gloves out of the box it was sitting on. So that I had to do a makeshift thing, guys, so that you guys could see today because I can't do this on my desk. So I did a little setup that hopefully will work for everybody. Yay! Hey, Bonnie. Hey, Jan. Hey, Belkas. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, just correct me. I try not to slaughter anybody's names. Happy New Year. Hey, Vicky. And guys, we're gonna let me just kind of show and talk about some things. Others can watch this on the playback, and that way when we get to our time, we can just go ahead and go over some stuff. I am going to show you guys one of the things that I'm doing today is new to me. I've never done it before. Several have done it. I've watched some videos, so we're going to try it together, see how it works, see what goes on. And there will probably, well, not probably, there will be a follow-up video to this live, and I will probably do that live as well, so that you guys can see me put either a water slide decal or vinyl or whatever it is that I'm going to put on these cups after they cure. So just know that this is going to be a 2 to 3 part video because I do want to come back and show you guys after it cures putting on the vinyl and or decals and then putting the epoxy over those and then the finished product as well. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-part live video in increments. Hey, Annie. You're in Oklahoma, Debbie? Yeah, I bet it is cold. It's nice here. It's not cold. I have on like a raglan and jeans, but the kids are out playing in t-shirts, so who has done epoxy cups before? Anybody? Yes, Bonnie, thank you. Please give a thumbs up. I'm going to go over to the project camera and we'll start looking at some of the stuff that I've got going. And I'm going to have to move the camera. We're going to do 2 cups. This is the one that I'm going to start with first. And we're going to do the glitter on it. And then we're going to move over to this other one. I'll adjust the camera and we're going to do Micas. Hey, Annie in Arkansas. Refresh, Debbie. I haven't changed anything, I promise. I didn't touch anything. Looks like I'm buffering. Try to refresh because my YouTube is not buffering and my OBS is not buffering. Both are strong and green. And I am not on Wi-Fi, so I'm hardwired. We should be good. Everything else looks fine here. Some of the things that you guys are going to need to do your cups, if you've never done them before, I have a list of supplies in the show more of the description in the video, and you are going to need those supplies. And we'll go over everything here as soon as I play the intro and get started. I want to give a couple more minutes for everybody to get here. Let me actually show you guys this too. Oh, great. Fantastic. Yeah, you may have to refresh throughout because it could be internet, could be YouTube. I will let you guys know if mine goes out of green so you will know it's me and not you. This is Texas Laser Studio, guys. This is where I got my cuptisseries and my drying stand. So if you guys are interested in getting one, they have the small 1 cup. They have changed theirs. My 2 cup has 1 motor, and I really like the way that they have changed up and done individual motors for everything. Guys, they have some fantastic cuptisseries. So if you're in the market looking for one, this is where I got mine. You can shop around, but personally, I like the look of the Texas Laser Studio ones. And you're going to get epoxy on them, but it will come off, and I'll show you guys that here in a little bit too. But love, love, love. Hey, Sue. Love my cuptisserie from Texas Laser Studio. I have a single and a double. And it sure did come in handy having that extra one for the holidays, I tell you guys. I needed it. I could have probably even used another one. Okay, guys, I'm going to play the intro and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, first of all, I appreciate everybody coming and watching the video and the live, and I don't take stuff out of my videos, so if we have mess ups, we're just going to learn how to fix them together. That's just the way that that's going to go. Let's cover some of the things that I'm going to be using today and some of the things on the materials list that you guys will need. If you have done epoxy cups, you know this, and if you have not done them, then this will give you an idea of what you're going to need. And the first thing you're going to need are gloves like these. I use these blue nitrils. I get them at Walmart and everything. I have got them from Amazon, and actually Amazon costs less. I put the link in the description below for the black nitrile gloves, and they're just as good. As a matter of fact, I like them better. I used to use them when I worked at Lowe's. So you guys can get the black nitrile or the blue nitrile, or if you like latex, you can get those. I just don't like latex. And I don't like the ones that have powder in them because I don't want powder getting on any of my epoxy. So, and all I'm going to do before I get started is just check my cups and make sure that they're level on my cuptisseries. That's very important, guys, when you're doing your cups. Make sure that your cups are sitting level on your cuptisserie, because you can put them on those footballs and push them in here, and they can dip down or up, and you don't want that. You want it to be as level as possible. And you guys, if you have questions, put them in caps. Jamie's here with us. She's done epoxy cups, so she knows a good bit about them as well. so she can help me answer questions for you guys. Another thing that you're going to need, you're going to need some craft sticks. I like the ones that are like the coffee stirrers, but you can use any popsicle sticks, whatever you want to call them, craft sticks. Something to stir with. You're going to need those. I used to use the medicine cups or the solo cups, and I'm using these just because I wanted to have my epoxy ready to go for you guys, part A and part B. But if you have I'm using Pro Marine. I have used, what is it? It's Amazing Clear Cast. I think that's it, from your hobby stores. I've used it. I like it too. I like the Pro Marine better. But you'll find out as you work with them which ones you like better. Some like the art resin. Just depends. Yes, she does, Sue. She does some really pretty work too. And so make sure that you're going to, as you do them, you are going to find what works for you. Because hey Sue, what works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for the next person. In my first video where I did this and I showed you guys with the beach cup, I've changed everything since I've done that video. I've found easier ways of doing things. So you're going to progress and find easier and quicker ways to do stuff. And you're going to find product that you like better than other product. You don't have to use what everybody else is using. Use what works for you. So if you like the Amazing Clear Cast, I like it. I have no problem with it. It was easy to work with. I also like the Pro Marine. I just like the pricing of the Pro Marine better. So I think it's around 60 bucks. I put the link for that below for the gallon. And when you're looking at, hey Margie, when you're looking for your epoxy, when it says 1 gallon, double look, because they may be saying it's a half gallon part A, half gallon part B, equaling 1 gallon. It does not mean you're going to get a gallon of A and a gallon of B. Usually, generally, they'll show that as 2 gallon. So that's something to look at when you're looking at your epoxies. I've only run across one that didn't really word it correctly, and it looked weird. But usually when they say 1 gallon, it's 1 gallon total. Yeah. Well, it's not. This is a 2-cup, and it's really not as big as it looks. Because these come off of it, and it's very easy to store. So when you take your, as a matter of fact, let me see where I put my single cup. Here is my single cup, and I mean, it's about the size of my hand. And when you take your footballs for your cup off, it's not that big at all. So the more spinners you have, the larger it's going to be, most definitely. And you guys can buy these from them as well at Texas Laser. They're going to get gooey and gunky and stuff like that if you're using them, because I use mine when I paint, something to hold it so I can put it on my drying stand and everything. So that being said, we've covered the epoxy. You're going to need gloves. You're going to need craft sticks. You're going to need rubbing alcohol and paper towels. And I tell you why. Because, just like I just got my hands sticky from some epoxy, I'm just going to put a little bit of alcohol on a paper towel and wipe it off. Now, you can use baby wipes that have alcohol or whatever, hand cleaners. But it's a solvent, and it will take... if you get drips on anything, it will take it off. Take it off immediately. Oh, yay, Sue. So you get to use yours. You're also going to need a heat gun. Now, a lot of people use their embossing tools, and I'll tell you, I burned up my little $10 Doris or whatever it was from the craft store. And Jamie and I were talking, and she said she used this one and she liked it. So I ordered one, and I have to agree with her. Love it. So you're going to need a heat gun. And the only reason you may need a heat gun, and you don't always need one, if you get any microscopic air bubbles and stuff, and you're not doing the epoxy method for your glitters and things like that, you're going to need your heat gun, because the heat is what brings those up and makes them pop, so that you don't get fish eyes in your epoxy. Okay? Because you will get those spots if you have a lot of air bubbles. I also got these pinch bowls. These are silicone pinch bowls. I got these at Michael's, and they have a little hole in them where they have the tag, but I don't care. That doesn't bother me. I did put a link below for some on Amazon that don't have those little holes in them, but the reason I got these from Michael's is I got 3 in a set for $1. So they're not very expensive, and you can clean up your epoxy out of these, and therefore you don't have to keep wasting your funds on little medicine cups and stuff like that, because after I just set mine on my trays, once my epoxy hardens in them, it just basically comes out. You'll have a few drips and stuff. Use some Dawn dishwashing liquid and a little fingernail brush, and it comes right out. So you can clean it up. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long run if you plan on doing a lot of cups. If you don't plan on doing them except here and there, by all means, stick with the disposable throwaways. So, now, that being covered, you're also going to need your glitter. Today, I'm going to do the glitter, and this is my first time doing glitter this way on the cups, guys, so we're going to learn this together. I'm using the extra fine peacock and the chunky peacock mix from Michael's in the Recollections. And I don't know if you guys saw this sitting over here. This is just a silicone mold, and I put those down below too. This is for making key rings and jewelry and stuff. I like to mix a little bit of extra epoxy because I don't want that uh-oh moment where I don't have enough of a, especially if I'm doing micas and I don't have enough of a color. Going back and trying to mix and add to it after it's already trying to set does not work. It will cause lumpy cups, and you don't want that. So I like to mix a little bit extra, and instead of wasting it, I can make a little keychain and give that with the cup. So if you want to invest in those, that way you can make those with the epoxy, any extra epoxies that you have. You can sprinkle glitters into them if it's your clear. Anything. You can do a lot of stuff with that. You can add vinyl to them, whatever. The other cup that we're doing, I have a request for a pink and purple glow-in-the-dark mica powder cup. So I am using these mica powders, and these are pearls that I got. It says they're decor rom, they're soap dyes or whatever, but they're mica powders, and they work with the Promarine epoxy. And I put a link below. You get like 20-something colors or something like that, and it's not very expensive. I forgot the price on it, but it's not much. It's under 20 bucks, and it takes very, very, very little. So these will last a long time. The Prismas are a little more expensive. You get a little bit more, but these are the glow-in-the-darks, and we're going to be using these. And I think I got, I want to say it was 15 bucks, but I could be wrong. But I got 7 colors, and this will last a long time, guys, because you're about to see how very little I actually need. And I've got the red and the purple. I know this says red, but it kind of looks pink, and I think it'll work with the fuchsia. We're going to find out. It's a test cup anyway. So, and with my mica powders that I got, they sent me several extra of these bags. I did not get any with the Prisma, and I like to put mine in there before I cut that top, just in case. I don't want any leaking everywhere, so I'm just going to cut the top off of that and let it sit in here, because it's not in a Ziploc like these others are. So, just so that we can get ready. And I have not mixed any of my epoxy yet. I wanted to give everybody time to get in here so that you could see how I do it. And guys, you want to mix your epoxy slow. if you don't, you're going to get air bubbles in it, and it can cause you issue. And we're going to start with the glitter one. So I'm just going to use clear, and I use my dark colored bowls for all of my clear, and I use the white ones for my color so I can see it, so I can see where it's cleaned up or not. And I'm just going to probably put on one glove. I think that's all I'll need. And I've already pre-measured, and it takes equal parts, guys, of your epoxy, part A and part B. Part A is really thick, and part B is a little thinner. And I put them in the wrong cups, but I know the difference. So, generally, I will mix it in this silicone bowl so I can see it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to, because if I get air bubbles, I want to be able to heat it, and your little plastic cups will melt. Trust me, been there, done that. But I'm just going to rake out all of my part A into my pinch bowl. And if you're using the pumps, I did include a link for the pumps. I have found one complete pump of each. We'll do a couple of cups. And it does come out, and it is equal. One comes out faster than the other one. You have to push really hard unless you've got it stored in a room that's like 75 degrees. Your part A is going to be hard to pump. That's just because it's thicker. And again, I just keep my little towel here. That's why I started using my hands to put my epoxy on, because I can feel everything. I can feel any imperfection, especially if I'm going over glitter or over vinyl. So it helps me. Some people use a silicone brush. I've just found that my hand works better. So I've got that in that pinch bowl, and I'm just going to stir it up, and it's going to turn cloudy. And there's a few air bubbles in it from pumping it, and that's okay. I'm going to heat it up anyway. I'm just going to sit it to the side. Just going to stir it till it's just a little bit cloudy, and then I'm just going to let it sit for a second. And I forgot to get my paper. I've got some up here. Excuse me, guys. I apologize. I thought I had everything I needed. But I'm going to need some copy paper to catch my glitter on. And you can see right here I've gotten some hardened epoxy right there on my table. It will come up. You can push it up. Just, I shouldn't be using my scissors for this, but I am. It will come off. You can get it off when it gets on things. So, and you can see that I stirred that. It was a little bit cloudy, and it's clearing up, and that's perfectly fine. I'm just going to take my heat gun and switch everything on first. My cups are going to start spinning. And I'm just going to heat it for a second. Do not, if you do this, do not overheat it. If you see vapors coming off of it, you need to stop. You're setting your epoxy, and you don't want to do that. But I just wanted to warm it up a little bit because it is not 75 degrees in my house. And it just kind of thins it out so that you can stir it and not get all those air bubbles. But the great thing about doing your glitter cups this way, one, it's faster, it's quicker, it's easier. Two, if you have microscopic air bubbles in there, they don't show. They won't show up. So all I'm going to do is take my finger, and this is way more epoxy than I need, guys. Like I said, I didn't want to be live and have one of those uh-oh moments where I had to stop and mix more. But I am putting on an extremely thin coat. Just dipping my fingers in it and doing an extremely thin coat of epoxy on the cup. If you get too much epoxy with this method, I'm told, I don't know, I haven't done it, this is my first time doing one this way, that your glitters can run and I don't want them to run. And I am just dragging my finger all the way over the edge at the top so that I get a good coat. I did paint this cup black because I wasn't sure what I was going to use, and I didn't want the silver of the cup to shine through. But you can actually put the glitter right on to the silver part of the cup this way. And I've got a few air bubbles in there I can see, and they will be covered when we do this glitter method, so they won't show. But if you're doing another epoxy method, you would need to heat it at this point and get those air bubbles out. And I'm just going to show you and just go over it. And that's going to allow your epoxy to roll and smooth out a little bit. And I'm going to start with the extra fine at the top. Just going to start sprinkling my glitter. And I guess I better put that paper under there now that I had to get up and get. And you can use as much or as little as you want, guys. But I am basically just going to put some of the chunky at the bottom. I've never used chunky on any of my cups. Any of the excess that doesn't stick to the epoxy is going to fall off. So you don't have to worry about it not being even or anything like that. Just going to wait on that to come back around. And I'm going to go way up high with my glitter just to kind of ombre that down at the bottom. Just tap it to get any excess off of it. And then I'm going to take the chunky, move this one out of the way. And I'm not trying to do a perfect, exact line, guys. I want this to be at different levels. I don't know. I think I might go a little bit deeper on that one side. Little place that I missed. I think that's okay. Even if they mix, it won't hurt anything. They're both the same color. Then I'm just going to go back with my chunky glitter. And they say, again, this is my first time doing one like this. I am told that the chunky glitter, instead of it being raised up and having all that lumpiness, that it will lay flat with this method and stay flat. Again, you have to take some and kind of put it on the bottom of the cup with this method. But it is going to fall off if it's not stuck to some epoxy. So you don't have to worry about it. And I'm only seeing here at the bottom, and I'm just touching it just to make sure that those pieces lay flat. But it does appear that, for the most part, everything is lying flat. And I may not have put enough epoxy on mine for the way that they did theirs. But I kind of like it. It's much easier. So we are going to let that cure. I'll put all this back in later. I'm just tapping on the bottom to make sure that all my glitter is lying flat. And I think I want to, I don't know if those will stay, but I can always add some up here to this top end when I do my second coat after my vinyl. But it's supposed to be smooth when you do your vinyl on these. And we're going to find out. Like I said, I just watched them do it on a video, and their cups look wonderful. They look absolutely gorgeous. So we're going to see if this method is as easy as they made it look in their video. Again, that is a test. So we're all testing this one together. And she did on her video say that if you had any stray pieces sticking up, just to mash them down. So that's what I'm doing. So if you have any stray pieces, go ahead and take care of those. All right. Anybody have any questions? Hey, Marion. Glad you got to make it. We haven't got to the mica yet. We were just doing the test cup. That's my first one doing it that way, and I watched a couple of videos, and I liked one method better than I did, and the end result than I did of the others. So I tried her method, and I don't even remember what her name was. I don't even know if I saved that video. I hope I did, so that when I come back I can tell you guys who I watched. Now I will have some black area showing through on the bottom of my cup, and I don't mind that. So if you do, you're going to want to go in and tap those more of that on there. Depends on the humidity and the temperature in your house, Annie. It's going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. Or it could take even 8 hours. I'm going to bring you guys over to this other cup. And I still have a little bit of this left. And I'm going to throw some glitter in there. I'm going to stir that in. And that's why I say I got these silicone molds. I'm just going to pour my extra into these molds. So I'm not wasting any of the extra epoxy that I had. It's a little full. Don't hurt anything. You guys get to watch me make a mess. But it's silicone, it will come off. And then I can just give them a key ring to match. And I'm just going to set that off on my tray, and it can harden and do whatever it needs to do, and I will take care of that then. Now the mica powders. Same thing. I'm going to set these off to the side, guys, so that I can have room to work. Like I said, I made this makeshift recording area for you guys because I had no way of getting my computer to the garage. So, I'm doing 4 colors on this one. And again, I didn't want to have that uh-oh moment where I didn't have enough epoxy. So I know that I am mixing way more epoxy than I need. Guys, it takes very, very little. About, I don't know, 2 to 3 teaspoons a cup is about all you need. And I know I'm off camera right now, but all I'm doing is the same thing I did previously. I'm raking out part A into my punch bowls. And adding part B. See if I can get over here so you guys can see me. And it's equal parts of part A and part B, and I believe that is for all epoxy resins, not just this one. I haven't found one yet that didn't use equal parts. And I'm just stirring that up until it's cloudy. You're going to want to stir yours a lot slower than I am here. Usually it'll take about 5 minutes to stir, guys. And I'm just stirring it up till it's cloudy, and I'm just going to let that sit for a second. And I'm going to clean my hands off from handling that silicone mold over there with all of that on there. I don't really... You can add glitter to these, guys, and you have to be careful when you're doing the mica powders. I don't know if you can see on my Star Wars cup that's on the intro picture that I had up. Let me see if I can pull that up for you and show you while I'm waiting on that to sit for a moment. I don't know if it's going to show on this cup or not. But it looks like in here, you'll look at it, and on these silver parts and stuff, it looks like air bubbles, microscopic air bubbles. They are not. If you put glitter or flake or anything into your mica powder, it may give that effect that it is, and that's just where the epoxy runs at a little clear area around some of the glitter. I had to get really close and look at it when I did it. Here's one where I didn't add any glitter, and it didn't have that effect. And I didn't do anything any differently. So sometimes when you put in, I use House of Color Flake or your Michael's Bling Glitter, or which is what I put in this one. And it did give me that effect, but it looked more like stars in the galaxy, and I like the look. So if you're just... Do some tests. Test yours out and see what you like, the effect that you like and what you get. Yes, I do generally get mine at Walmart. I like the Ozark Trails. The ones I'm using today are the Built, and that's because they were out of Ozark Trails. And I don't like the Built cups as well. And it's just simply because this Built is so deep that it's hard to cover. And I'll show that to you. Let me get back over here. The logo on this is really deep, and it's hard to cover with the mica cups. With glitter, it doesn't really matter, but with the mica, that Built logo kind of sticks out there, and I don't, right here, I don't like that. But I'm going to live with it on these few cups that I'm doing because these are tests anyway. So, and like I said, you'll learn what works for you. And I'm just heating that up a little bit, guys, and I'm going to stir it some more. Simply because I like it when it's thin and it doesn't get the air bubbles. Again, you're going to find what works for you. If you see vapors coming off of that when you're heating it, stop. I can't stress that enough because you're setting your epoxy and it's not going to run smooth. You don't want to overheat it. But I just added just a slight little bit of heat. You can see it's almost like water. Not quite. I'm just going to let that sit for a minute, so if I have any little teeny tiny air bubbles, they can come up to the top. You don't want to see any swirls in there. I'll probably mix that again after I do this portion. So, again, I'm using the mica powders in 2 colors and the glows in 2 colors. And this is probably way more than I need, but that's what I'm going to use. This stuff goes a long way, guys. And then this is the purple glow. And that's going to be hard for you guys to see in there. I know. That's probably more than enough. This, I've not used these before. This is a test for these as well. You'll want a separate stick for each one of these. You don't want to really mix your colors. Unless you're doing a mix, I guess. I hope that that's enough of that powder in there. I haven't worked with them yet, so we're about to see, guys. And I'm going to bring this up so you can see about what I put in color in there. Just a little teeny tiny bit, just off the end of those sticks. And if I need more, I'll add more. But, I mean, yeah, it's not much. And I'm just stirring, making sure that this is mixed well. If you do not mix your epoxy well, you will have sticky spots, and they will not cure. Some people say just put epoxy back over them, but I'm not sure that it cures underneath that, because if it doesn't cure, it doesn't cure. And you need to wipe that off and start over. And I'm just making sure I don't have any swirls, and you want to stir slow. You don't want air bubbles, and that's why I like the thinner sticks. They tend, the white, to me, I could be wrong, but the whiter your stir stick is, the more air bubbles it can create in there, or it does for me, because of the drag when I go around. Maybe it's the way I stir. I don't know. And now I'm just going to use my pinch bowl, and I'm just going to add some of the epoxy to each one of these. And I still have a good amount in this pinch bowl, and that's what I'm going to use to coat my cup. I do coat my cup before I do my micas, because I don't want them to run together. I want them to kind of stay separated. But I'm just doing a very thin coat, just like I did on the other one. Extremely thin, just wiping it. And I may not have left myself quite enough, but I'll be okay. You don't need a real heavy coat. The heavier you go, the more it's going to run and drip. You will have some drips with the mica, because they're going to morph on the cup. And basically, just want to get a good coat on it. Then, I'm going to take my heat gun and make sure it's smooth. But I'm just heating that enough, and I can see that it's starting to roll, and that's what I want. And while that's setting for a second, I'm going to mix up my mica powders. Yeah, the Built brand is all, I love that about it, Jamie, because it's perfectly smooth. I just don't like, for the mica powder cups, I don't like that logo. And let me see while I'm stirring that. That's one. And I'm just stirring each one of these guys. I was able to go back and do a second coat with some color on these and hide that Built. But I noticed that as my micas ran, right here you can see it, they ran in between. And the Built was staying in black. And my cup, like this one here, was staying in black, and it ran down in between. And that was what I didn't like about it, is it kind of made a trail around it. So that was my only thing with the Built cups. Other than that, I love the straight sides of it. And I think I'm tilted down just a little bit here. For some reason, my cup wants to tilt on that one. And I'm just going to finish mixing up my mica powders in here and my glows. And you should mix these slower than what I am too. You don't want air bubbles in there, guys. Air bubbles are not friendly with epoxy. And I'm thinking I am going to mix this into that red or pink, whatever. It's my first time working with it, so I think I'm going to mix them both. This is the glow in the dark, and I'm mixing it into the pearl powders just because I don't like the color that I ended up with there for a pink. I like that better. There we go. And my purple is clear anyway, so just going to mix those two together too, and we're going to hope for the best. Do you guys think I should add some color flake? Or just go with the micas? What do you guys think? Yeah, I always use wooden. Simply, the less I have to clean up, the better for me. And I'm just put a tiny bit of heat on these guys just to make sure I get any air bubbles out of there. Hey, Anna. I think I am going to add a little flake to that purple. And I would love to show you guys the full label of this, but this came from my husband's paint shop. He used to paint cars, so that's why it's all messed up. But it's House of Color, and it is called Ultra Rainbow Mini. And it's like a glitter. It's finer than glitter. You don't need much, just a little bit, and it's going to add a little bit of bling to the cup. That's pretty. I don't know if you guys can see that, if it'll focus in on it, but it's really pretty. See if you can see this one. But you can see this is almost the consistency of water. Now here's the way that I do this. I don't know about anybody else, but it's the way that I do it. I'm going to get this over so you guys can see it really good. No, Annie, I will never, my handmade is never perfect. It's never going to be perfect. I don't like to cut out parts. If we mess up, we mess up. And you guys need to know how you can fix stuff that gets messed up. Yes, you can get an FDA approved. I'm glad somebody brought that up. I'm just going to drizzle, guys, so you guys can watch me. I'm just drizzling this on the cup. Here's my thing. And I'm not saying this, I don't want to offend anybody on either side. Here's my take on it. You can get FDA approved. And there are people who have health issues and stuff that probably do need to use the FDA approved. However, the FDA, on a constant daily basis, approves things that will kill us. So, that being said, I'm not putting this on my skin. I get it on occasionally, and I wipe it right off. The Pro Marine doesn't have any vapor that I can smell. They all have a slight odor that I can smell. But once they're cured, they are cured. And it's just like anything else on a tabletop or a counter. All of these things, all epoxies are a chemical. Every single one of them are chemicals. And I did go through my stage when my brother got sick. I was even scared of water from the tap. Literally. Because, my brother had glioblastoma and it was killing him. And so I went through this stage of, you got to be careful of everything. And I went into depression and everything else. And talking to my doctor, these are her exact words. We're all dying from the day we're born. We're all going to die of something. And I can sit here afraid to do anything or use anything and be shut into my room looking out the window. Or I can open up the window and fly like an eagle. So it's my choice about what I want to do. I chose to fly like an eagle. So make your choice. If you're really, really scared of it and all of that, yes, get the FDA. If you're really super scared of it, please don't mess with epoxy because they're all chemicals. And I probably should have done a little white in this cup, but that's not what they wanted. So I'm just heating it now to get those colors to kind of morph together, but leaving some black space. And guys, that really is it to making the micas. I have a couple of air bubbles, but they're popping. I always get one down there at the bottom where my seam is on my cup, and I guess that's because it's a vacuum cup, the stainless steel. They all do that. But keep in mind, these are going to get another coat of clear over those after you put on your vinyl. So any of those little imperfections that you get, like you can see here where the bubbles are coming up from the vacuum sealed cup, those are going to fill in. You just want your cup, when you're looking at it from the side, you want to make sure that everything is level and even and that you don't have any really bad places in it. Yeah, this one's a little dark. It's darker than most of them come out. You can lighten it up by adding like a silver or a pearl white into them, or even a brighter color. But like I said, this was a request, so I figured that I would show you guys with my request, and let's experiment together. So I wanted you guys to see. But you can lighten the cup up, but you've got to remember there is, in this one, there is the glow in the dark. So after this sets, I'm going to come back, and if we need epoxy on that glitter one over here that's going, if we need to put another coat of epoxy on that before we do the vinyl, I'm going to let you know that, because like I said, that's the first time that I've done that method, and I wanted to try it, see if it works. And if it does and it's smooth and we can, if it's ready for vinyl, that's going to be awesome for us, because that's going to cut out a whole step, well, a couple of steps, all that Mod Podge and all of that glitter, and then sealing it, and then doing epoxy, and then sanding it, and doing more epoxy, and then putting on our vinyl. We're going to eliminate a bunch of steps and save a lot of product if this works. And this one is going to be really pretty at night. I wish you guys could see this up close. I don't know if I can get close and focus in enough. This is gorgeous. Let me see if I can autofocus for you guys. Can you see that silver flake that I put in there? Yes, your room should be 75 degrees. If your room is not 75 degrees, you can use like one of those little teeny tiny office desk, you know, the kind of little heaters that secretaries put under their desk. I'm not going to suggest any kerosene heaters or anything like that, but you can put one of those on your table close to it. You don't want it blowing on it constantly. And I think I've got like one little air bubble. You can see one little spot there. I'm not worried about that. When I go to do my vinyl and my next coat, that will fill in. But if it worries you, you can always take your heat gun. Let that come back around where you guys can see where it's down there on it. And you can turn your heat onto it and get that to fill in. But that's all there is to doing the micas, guys. This guy right here will be ready for vinyl in 4 to 8 hours. It depends on the humidity and the temp in the room. But that will be ready. I can put vinyl on it, put its clear coat on it, and it's going to be done. So they're a lot quicker, they're a lot easier. You can still add glitter, you can still get that bling in there, and use those mica powders, and they are really, really, really pretty. I did this one. Let's see if I can get you guys up here. I did this one in the green glows. So I don't want to tilt my drink out onto my table, but I did this one with the green glow and the Michael's bling glitter, and then I also used the green mica powder. I mixed my own mix for that. I mixed 2 colors of micas for that one. So once these are set, I will do another live. I will pull them off so you can see me when I take them off of here. We'll look at them, check them, see if there's anything that we should have fixed on the cup. We will take care of all of that, and I will show you exactly if I have to do anything at all to these cups. If anything comes out or if there's any boo-boos, you guys will see them, because we're going to do this start to finish, and once we're ready, again, we'll put the vinyl on it or a decal. I haven't decided what's going on here yet. Yeah, Belkis, that's what those are. That's the House of Color Ultra Rainbow Minis. I have the large flake in that too, but I really, really, really like the mini. So once this is cured, we're going to do our decor on it, and then we're going to put our second coat, our clear coat, and then we will come back and I will light this cup up, and you guys can see. I'm going to probably, that's probably the only thing I'm going to do, is put a light on it for about 60 to 80 seconds. And I'll even do that live so we can see together if the glow worked. So does anybody have any questions? And you can make this pop a little bit more by doing a white cup, painting it white. Well, you can paint it any color you want. It doesn't have to be white or black. You can paint it whatever. And you can, guys can, the mica powders, Marion, I've got a link below for the micas, the mica pearls. That's what I used. And I also gave you the Prisma glows, because I used 2 different ones. Yeah, please, guys, give me a thumbs up so we can come back. So I'm just going to let these guys cure, and as soon as I get a moment after they're cured, we're going to come back on another live and continue on. That's it. Thank you, Sue. So everything that I used today, I listed below except alcohol and paper towels. You guys know where to get those, your local stores, things like that. But everything else I listed. I put some craft sticks on there, but I got these at Walmart. I used the skinny sticks. That's what they're called, skinny sticks. How long before the second coat? It's going to depend. Again, I usually try to wait, even though it's okay, it still might be a little soft. I like to wait anywhere from 8 to 12 hours before I do my second coat, because I want to handle my cup. I want to check and see if I have any fish eyes, anything like that that I may need to fix. If I need to hit it with a piece of sandpaper at any point, I want to make sure that I know exactly where to go on that. So I don't want to be handling my cup if the epoxy is still soft. 12 hours is about where I like to handle mine. I don't like my customers to get them until they've sat for at least 3 days to 4 days. So I want it good and hard before they get their hands on them. Okay, guys, Make sure you either use your notepad or your piece of paper. Any questions that you forgot to ask, write them down so you can ask when we come back live to do the rest of this cup. Thanks, Demi. I do not let it spin for 12 hours, so I have. This is a rotisserie motor. They're made to spin like that for hours on hours on hours. What's in my bowls and what drips into my tray, I touch that. If it's sticky, it spins. Okay? If it's sticky, whatever's in this drip pan right here, if it's sticky, it spins. And then I turn it off. You know, after 6-8 hours, I turn it off because I have turned mine off. I'm just going to be honest, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you. I turned this one off right here after 4.5 hours, I believe it was. Everything's perfectly. It was great. And look what happened. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I have this little knot of epoxy down here at the bottom because it was still shifting. Okay? And now I have to go and I have to sand this and this right here and get that off of there. And then I have to put another coat on there. If I had not turned my rotisserie off, this cup would be finished. But because I did that, and it was still sticky in my tray, I now have a bubble. Yeah, and it's a pretty good sized bubble. So I'm going to have to sand that down and then probably touch up my cup because I hit it with sand just to see right there on that edge, and I nicked my paint. So, because it took it down pretty quick. But I was using an electric sander. But I'm just going to probably use my Dremel on this and Dremel this right here off and right here. Put another coat and then it will be done. And this one was painted white and I used the gold out of that pack on it. And then I used a water slide decal that I did in Design Space. So, I mean, there are several ways to do it. But, again, if it's sticky, just let it run. Yeah, I did that same thing, Jamie. But this one, for some reason, this one was still running. I think it was 4.5 hours, and I should have given it that extra hour. Okay, if nobody has any more questions, or if you do, make note of them and ask them when we come back. I do too. I think it's very, very pretty. The gold and the white turned out really awesome. You guys have a rest of your Happy New Year. Go and enjoy your dinner with your family, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the 14 Days of Valentine's. That's coming up. We are going to be live at 7 p.m. Tomorrow to start the 14 Days of Valentine's. And I will either go live before that for the cup or live after that for the cup. So, haven't decided yet. I might go live early in the afternoon for that one, for the cup, and then do our live at 7. And the only reason I'm doing that is because Monday was New Year's Eve, and I knew everybody was prepping, so I pushed it to Wednesday this week. You had one shut off at 4 hours, and it did the same thing. Yeah, guys, don't shut it off as quick as we did, because I think that it looks like it's not moving, Jamie, but it really is. It's still morphing. I'll see you guys on the next live. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, patrons. I appreciate you all. And I'll see you on the next live.